Hi gang, welcome to Ken's Kitchen. Well, today we're going to teach you or show you how to do an ice cream cake. It was funny, today I was talking to someone online who makes wedding cakes and they didn't have a clue on how to make an ice cream cake. So we're going to work on showing you how to make one. I've done these in about 15 minutes or less. That's in desperate situations. Today we're going to take a little bit longer, show you how to do it the right way. So, first thing is you get your ice cream out of the fridge. We're going to use some cookies and cream. It's already soft because when I got home I didn't leave it in the, I didn't put it in the freezer right away. So I'm going to leave this a little bit long. Oh, it's a little really too soft. We'll leave it a little longer in the freezer. Hopefully that'll help us out. So while we're prepping for that, what I'm going to use for a base is Oreo crumbs. Then I'm going to use some Rolos and caramel spread in the middle. So that is the base of what we're going to do. So what we need is we need roughly 2 teaspoons of butter, melted. And you know, again, if you don't want to use butter, you can use something else. But basically what you're using this for is to mix in with the breadcrumbs so that you can make a base in the bottom of your pan. Now, what I use is a 9-inch spring pan. You can use a heart-shaped pan, spring pan, you can use any kind of spring pan. I find they work the best. Get your mixing bowl, pour it. Now I went a little over a cup of Oreo crumbs. You can probably get away with a cup, but I like to go a little bit more. I'm just breaking up some of the bigger pieces here because you don't want really chunky chunks. You want it kind of fine and refined. That's why you're using Oreo crumbs. You can use graham crumbs if you want. If you're really stuck, and I've done this, I think for the last cake I was stuck on because I was making it at some late hour, I used ginger snap cookies for my base. And basically in that case, I just took the cookies, put them on the counter here, rolled them with a rolling pin and crushed them. So, again, it depends on how you want to do it, but that's what I like to do. I'm going to take a towel in here, get my hands. Well, my butter's not quite ready yet, so we're going to nuke it another 10 seconds. I nuked it about 20 seconds off the start, just because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take. Oh, now it's popping, so that's, yeah, that's too long. That last little bit was a little too much. So I'm going to take that, put it in here, and I got some chunks in there, but that's okay because it's melted enough, it'll melt. And so you just want to stir it. You want to make sure everything has a wet coating to it, so it seems wet. And again, it might take a little while to stir it all in to give it that wetness feeling for everything, because basically what you're trying to do is make all your crumbs stick together when you make your base, because you don't want, it's okay to have a crummy base, that's kind of not what I meant, but you don't want it, you want to make sure that you can kind of make it stick and turn into something rather than just be loose crumbs everywhere. So I think I've done the best I could to mix it together. Because I did a little bit extra than I normally do, I probably should have put a little more butter, so I'm going to do a little bit more butter. And again, it's not a huge thing, but because I put in some extra, we're running into some problems here. Because I put extra crumbs in it, more than I normally do. And the reason is the last couple times I've done crumbs, I haven't put enough, so I've been a little disappointed in the bottom of my cakes. So I don't edit, so I apologize for all this back. See my back while I go to the microwave. I'm not the type of person to edit my videos. I'm gonna have a sip of tea though. So it's almost ready again. Here, we'll see how long. Well, not quite. We'll do another 10 seconds. Hopefully that'll be not too much. And then we'll put that in here with this, and I think that should get us right where we want to be. And again, everyone can do it to their own preference. I'm just doing it what I'm used to doing. There we go, that should be good. And again, if your butter is not 100% melted, that's okay, as long as it's really soft and you can work with it. That's good too. The only thing you don't want to end up with is clumps of butter, because honestly, I don't think anyone enjoys a clump of butter in their meal, regardless of what you're making. Now, how do I know how to do this? Well, I used to own a convenience store where we had a soft ice cream machine, and I used to make ice cream cakes there. That's where I learned how to do this. Now I'm doing this the El Cheapo way. I think I figured out my cost tonight to be, it's a little high because I'm going all out here, and I wasn't sure what products I had here at the house. So 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 2 tubs of ice cream, which was $4 each, so say $25 altogether is my total. Now these breadcrumbs I can use twice, 3 times. Again, just depends on how thick you want your crust at the bottom to be. Like I said, the last couple times I've made it, I've been a little on the thin side, so I'm trying to get it a little thicker this time around. So I used a little over a cup. A cup is probably sufficient to do a 9-inch pan without too much issue. But again, you want to make sure that it's going to be a nice, tight, packed down bottom. Now we don't cook the bottom once we do this, we just get it in here. Now, if time is on your side and you're not trying to do this quick, once you get your bottom in, I would freeze it. And then that way it's nice and solid and in place. So again, it's depending on how quickly you want to do it. Like I said, I've done these in 15 minutes and they've turned out good. Mind you, I don't think anyone ever complains about an ice cream cake, regardless of how long it took you to make it and what kind of shape it's in. It has ice cream and amazing fillings inside. Who really cares about the overall 100% presentation? Right? Let's be honest. But tonight we're going to try and do this and make it all work out. So as I said, probably I used a little too much of this, unfortunately. Oh no. Again, don't do what I just did. Never put your butter spoon in the black Oreos and then back in the butter. Oops. We'll have to clean that out before my wife gets home. That'll get me in trouble. Oreo crumbs in the butter. So I overdid it a little bit. Like I said, I used a few too many crumbs, but because I was doing this video, I wanted to make sure I had more than not enough. Plus, like I said, my last ones were a little thin on the bottom than I like. So again, I just used a spoon, patted it down. That's what your base should look like. You basically want to keep it along the edge of the rim. You can see there's a little line, and I know it's hard to see. I'm going to try bringing this up closer so you can get a better look. There you go. So you can see the little rim right there. You want to be at that level for your bottom. You don't want to be much higher than that. So again, normally right about now I would freeze this part so that it has a real good chance to sit before we start adding ice cream to it. I'm going to stick it in the fridge for a few minutes. It's not going to freeze fully, but maybe it'll get hard enough that we can get somewhere. While I'm doing that, I'm going to fix my mistake here and get the little bit of crumbs out of here. And I know really that's not why you're watching this video, is to watch me get crumbs out of butter. But I figure the entertainment factor has to be worth something. And B, I want to give that a chance to freeze for a little bit. So this is what we're going to do. We're just going to take this out. I think I got most of it. It's not perfect by any means. Hate wasting butter like this because it's not cheap. And again, I got into making these cakes like this, again, because I had a soft ice cream machine before, but I've gotten doing them this way because I no longer have a soft ice cream machine, and my kids like ice cream cakes. So basically, we finished up with the Oreo cooked crumbs now, and we've made our base. We're done with that. So that's pretty simple. We're done with the butter. We can put the lid on the butter. Don't need butter anymore. So now we're just basically down to ice cream and the fixings. That's all we need. So we're going to take out some ice cream. And again, this ice cream's probably not as hard as it should be because I left it out a little too long because I was leaving it out to get soft, but it took me a lot longer to set up than I thought it was going to take because I took out the lights. Because I bought some lights earlier this year so that we could do this kind of stuff and have a nice bright video. So there it is. It's just basic Breyers ice cream. Again, I'm not going to do anything fancy for how I'm going to put it in there. I don't have any magic tools. I'm going to use a spoon to scoop it out. If you have an ice cream scoop, great. Excuse me. And then one of these will work well, and this will help us. These are the two things that we'll use to just making sure it's clean. Excuse me, so I'll wash this up. There we go. There. So we got a scoop, we got something to lay it flat, and then we have a metal spoon in case it's more frozen than I think it is. So the crumb's only been in there a minute or two, and again, that's not going to help us a lot, but it's going to help us a little bit. I bought cookies and cream because again, that's what my gang likes. So what you could do, if you've got time again, is you take this out and you put it in a bowl, and you stir it in a bowl so it gets a little softer and it's easier to work with. I'm doing it the let's get going, we're running out of time kind of method. This is like, oh, I got 20 minutes or half an hour to make a cake. We ain't gonna take the time to fool around here. We're doing things the quick way. And it's not hard to do. Like I said, this is gonna take us a few minutes. And as you see, as I'm putting it in, I'm kind of flattening it out just to make our job a little easier as we go. Now I'm going to try and fit 3 layers in here, and that's another reason why I use a spring pan instead of anything else, because spring pans are nice and deep, because I like to get a layer of Rolo, then I'm going to want a layer of caramel, and then I'm going to want another layer of Rolo. And in order to get the 3 layers like that, you got to make a layer of ice cream, put in whatever it is you're going to put in, do another layer of ice cream, put in what you're going to put in, and then finish it off after that. So it's not as soft as I thought it was, which is good, because as much as working with hard ice cream is a little difficult, because realistically most people do this with white ice cream, or white soft ice cream, or chocolate soft ice cream. And when you go to Dairy Queen or any other place that makes ice cream cakes, typically that's what they're working with. They're working with soft ice cream and they're making it that way. We're doing it this way because you know what? Not everyone has a soft ice cream machine in their house. The other fun thing about this is if you do it with your children, you're going to have a really good time. You know, let your children pick what's going to be in it, and you can just make it so much more fun than just, oh, I went to A&W and I bought an ice cream. Now, and I know a lot of people are, well, I don't have time to make it, and that's why we go buy it. Hey, that's fine. I'm not knocking anyone that goes and buys them. I'm just saying, for myself, doesn't have $25 minimum to go buy a cake, and typically my town doesn't have a Dairy Queen, and when I want a cake, it's usually not at some regular time of day. It's usually at some stupid hour, and it's like, okay, nothing's open, what are we gonna do? That's when we need cakes, never at the regular time. So this is what I do. I make them myself. So I almost got the first layer done here, and it's a little rough in areas. It's not a super smooth cake, which is fine, because we're not going for the super smooth look. We're going for yummy. Yummy wins over looks anytime. So this is what your layer of ice cream looks like. So like I said, it's a little rough. If you whipped it up a bit, you'd probably be able to make it a little smoother, but that's the best we got. So now we're going to take some rolls. I bought a package of these. Now again, you can just pick up some chocolate bars and do it with chocolate bars and just cut the little pieces off. Like I said, I was doing this for the video, so I just went all out and did it how I would normally, well, not how I normally, the best way possible. Like I said, there's lots of ways where you could have cut down. Like I said, $25, but I bought 2 tubs of this ice cream. Looking now, I really only needed 1 tub of it, so that would have saved me $4. So now I'm down to $20. The Oreo cream or the Oreo crumbs, looking at how much I used, one of those is going to do you 2 to 3 cakes. So again, paid $4 for that. If you cut it in half, you're talking $2. So there's another $2 off to 25 or 20, so we're down to $18. Instead of spending $4 or $3 on these, I could have bought a couple chocolate bars for $1.50, or yeah, $1.50 if I went to $1. So I would have saved another $1.50. So basically, I think for about $15, you can make a pretty impressive cake. If you make your own icing, it's even cheaper still. But again, it depends on what you want and how much effort you want to put into making the cake. Like I said, if you want to do it with your children, it's a fun thing to do. So there's how I laid out the Rolos, so that when everyone cuts a piece, you're bound to get at least 1, maybe 2 rolls. Again, now would be a good time to throw it in the freezer, freeze it again before you go. But if you're in a time crunch, putting it in the freezer again, you just don't have time for that. So what you want to do, and this is where things get a little tricky, because now your ice cream's semi-soft underneath, your Rolo's kind of a mess, and you really got to be careful what you're starting to do. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just load up a bunch of ice cream, rather than, because normally we would do it, flatten it, do it, flatten it. But what we're going to attempt to do here is get a bunch in here, because we don't want too much stuff moving around while we're doing this. That's the whole reason for this, right? Because if we start causing it to move around a bunch, then it's not going to work out. So we did that, and there's about half the thing covered with ice cream. So now the hope is that we can make what I just put in there into a layer. And it's going to be tough, but we should be able to do it. Again, the key here is you just want to get those Rolos covered. Make sure they're all covered. You don't want to see any Rolos through the ice cream. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to do this on the cheap, because I only want to use this 1 tub of ice cream. So I'm looking here where we might be having to go into the 2nd tub just a little. And again, I don't mind if I do that, but I was trying to show you how to do this fairly inexpensively. Now, normally what I do is I'll buy 2 smaller tubs, not these big huge things, but 2 small tubs, and I'll get 2 different kinds. I'll usually get like a Rolo and cookies and cream or something. Unfortunately tonight I was looking to see what was available, and in the sales stuff, because again I'm not paying $6 for ice cream, let's get serious here. I went for cheap, so I got whatever was on sale. So basically, if you can get 2 of the small tubs for $3, that works really good. 2 small tubs is perfect. Here it looks like I'm going to have to use a tub in a little bit, but not that that's going to be a huge problem, because my family here, my daughter, my wife, will love ice cream, and they're going to love actually having an ice cream cake when they get home Sunday. So again, excuse how I do this. I don't usually do cooking videos. I usually do buy and sell videos because that's what I like to do. Not that I don't like cooking, and I should specify that I actually enjoy cooking and baking. And pies are usually my thing more so than this. It just happened in today's conversation with someone else, they didn't know how to make one, and were concerned about how to make one, and I went, and the funny part, not the funny part, but they were making wedding cakes, and they were so talented. Their wedding cakes were amazing. And it was like, okay, you're worried about making an ice cream cake and ruining an ice cream cake, and you can make beautiful wedding cakes. You ain't gonna see me making a wedding cake. Sorry, ain't happening here. I'm not that guy. So we're starting to run into a little problem here. Stuff is starting to melt to the point where I can see liquid ice cream, and that's not good. The only good part about that is it'll fill in any holes we have on the sides, because that's my concern right now, is that I'm going to have holes on the sides. So I'm just going to put a little bit more of this in here. I see a spot I want to cover. Oh, a big cookie chunk, great for the side piece there. It'll keep that from... So we've now gotten layer 2 on. I'm going to show you layer 2. And it's actually starting to seep a little bit through the bottom, but we're 22 minutes into making this, and so we got to be kind of careful here. So we're going to take some caramel spread now, and then we are just going to go crazy with caramel spread. And again, you can use jam, you can use caramel spread, you can use honey, whatever turns your crank to fill. My gang, we like chocolate and we like caramel. So we're doing a caramel middle. And again, the quantity you put is again dependent to you. I put enough that we have a nice design inside of caramel, and everyone's going to taste some caramel. So now, to finish it off, we're going to try and get another quick layer. And like I said, we're going to have to use 2 tubs here, because I'd like to get a layer, put a little more Rolo, and then move on from there. So we finish this tub completely. Now we're going to grab the other tub, which hopefully, oh man, can't get into. And see, so this is going to be a little more frozen than the other one is, so it might make it a little tougher for us. So again, apologize if the video is not great. This is not what I do for a living. This is, I'm having some fun here, in hopes that I can maybe create a cheap way for some people to make ice cream cakes and just show people how it's done. Again, I'm sure some professional out there is going to say, oh, you did this wrong and you did that wrong. Don't care. Really, this is all about having fun. If you don't like how I do it, I'm sorry. This is the fun's man's way. So again, I'm just trying to put a thin layer in here. I don't want a thick one because I want to add some Rolo, and then I want to cover that up again. So for me, this is I just want a thin layer, as thin as I can get it. And again, I'm having problems because things are starting to melt a little faster and the ice cream is getting gooey, which makes it very difficult to work with. But that's why I have this piece here, so that I can just flatten stuff out a lot nicer and make it look good. And again, your other problem that you have to watch for when you start doing this is that you don't start messing up the layer below. Because I want to make sure I cover all the caramel, and I don't want caramel seeping onto this layer, because I want people to get a good taste of everything. I don't want them to have, well, it's going to be mixed when you put it in your mouth, but I think you know what I'm saying. You want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to get a full mix in their mouth of stuff, and not just one thing or another. So I just need one little more bit of ice cream in a couple spots here, and then I'll show you this layer completed, and then, oh, see, that's why I use a spoon. This thing doesn't scoop with beans, but it's great for flattening stuff out and making it look pretty, which we want to do. So we're probably going to have to freeze this before I finish this video, which really sucks. And again, normally I would be in between every shot or every layer freezing the cake for 5 to 10 minutes at least, just to make it that much easier. So probably what we're going to do is we're going to put another layer of Rolo on. And I'm just going to put it in the freezer for a bit, talk to you guys for a little bit. So basically, here I'm going to show you where we're at. So there's a little bit of room, not much before we hit the top of the pan. We're 27 minutes in, a little bit long, but again, I'm doing this for video purposes, so it's taking us a little longer than it would normally take me. And I'm adding a few more, not more things, but for example, I added a little more caramel than I might normally add because I have lots. And I'm adding a few more of these Rolo pieces, because normally I would just use chocolate bar pieces and I wouldn't have as many to work with, and I wouldn't be trying to space them out evenly like this. So those are things. Sorry everyone has to look at my bald head, by the way, too. I got my head down in the video and it's a bit of a pain. So here we are. We've now added all the Rolo pieces. So what we're going to do before we even attempt, I'm going to push down a little bit on these. The ice cream is extremely soft. So what I'm going to do, put those in there. We're going to stick this in the fridge for a bit. And probably not very long, probably 2-3 minutes. So we're just going to clean up. And again, that's one of the things that I try to make sure I do when I'm cooking anything, whether I'm baking a cake, a pie, whatever. I try to clean up as I go. Because if you can keep stuff clean and organized when you're doing stuff, it's much easier to deal with. Then again, we're going to have one small little layer of that put on. Then I bought some chocolate ice cream to put on top. Hopefully we'll be able to do it. I see I got a message from someone. I'll have to check it out after. I'm just going to quickly, oh, I got my crumbs I can throw in. So again, a little too much on the crumbs. Again, that was just because in the video I was trying to make sure I had extra rather than short. So just gonna wash the bowl here. Sorry. Again, my bag's free. I apologize. But just trying to give that cake some time to cook. Just making sure my dishes are clean. And again, it's just little things I do while I cook. And the big thing about that is you just don't want to be having to spend all night cleaning. Got a couple butter container dishes here we're going to wash up. Rinse them out. done. Again, sorry about having to look at my back while I do this. I apologize a lot. Know that too. But that's part of being Canadian. There. Grab my hands. Managed to spill some ice cream. So I'm just gonna wipe the ice cream a little bit. And again, because of how we're doing this, it's not really, the cake isn't gonna touch the counter here, so we're just giving it a quick wipe. If we were actually touching the counter, we disinfect it and everything in between every time we use it, so that we don't have crossover to contamination. So we're gonna leave it a few more minutes. What I want to get is a tray. Actually, I have one here I can use. And what I'm gonna do is put the cake on here once I get it out. And then once we're done, finished putting ice cream in it, we're gonna want to decorate it. So then we're gonna take the 9-inch tin off and then just spin it around. And then hopefully that'll make things a little better for everyone. So bear with us, we're hopefully gonna be able to get through this fairly quickly. So I didn't let it sit too long, but the ice cream seems to have kind of molted or gotten a little harder, which is perfect. We're gonna put our last layer on. And again, doesn't have to be a ton, it has to be just enough to cover the rolls. Oh, there, now I'm wasting ice. Oh. I'm wasting ice cream. Now I'm trying to do my best to make sure I don't touch everything with my hands, but if you're at your own house and the only people eating this are you and your kids, if you don't mind your fingers touching it, I don't mind your fingers touching it. But again, everyone's different. Everyone has different